I am pleased to call tonight's meeting of the Business Services Standing Committee to order, and we will start with the territorial acknowledgement, after which, if you're able, you should stand for O Canada.
We would like to acknowledge
that the lands on which we gather today
are the lands traditionally used by the Haudenosaunee,
Anishinaabe,
and the Tsuut'ina people.
We also acknowledge the enduring presence
and deep traditional knowledge,
laws, and philosophies
of the Indigenous peoples
who shared this land with us today.
We are all treaty people
with a responsibility
to honor all our relations.
Trustees, I have a motion to approve the agenda as distributed. Trustee Radlin, seconded by Trustee Weston. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda? Opposed? Okay, we will proceed with the agenda as distributed. There are no announcements on the agenda for tonight. Any declarations of pecuniary interest tonight? Seeing none, we shall move on. We do have a delegation tonight. She is joining us virtually. And Ms. Rydell is just bringing her in from the meeting room. So I'll pause. Okay. Welcome, Ms. Michelle. Before you begin your presentation, I'm going to read the delegation procedure. Which you may already be familiar with, but it's part of our process to read it at the meeting. Maria Michelle is here to talk about the magnet program transportation. And in accordance with the board's bylaws, delegations have up to 5 minutes to address the board. Exceptions to this rule are permitted only through a vote taken and supported by a majority of trustees on the committee. Delegates are expected to refrain from the use of abusive or derogatory language at all times, and the chair may expel or exclude from any meeting any persons who engage in this or any form of improper conduct, discourteous language, reference to personalities, or statements contravening the Ontario Human Rights Code or the Charter of Rights and Freedom will not be tolerated. Courtesy and respect for others must be displayed at all times. Delegations must not deviate from their script. When it is time for your presentation at the meeting, I will announce your name, which I've already done, and ask you to begin, which I have not done yet, but I will do momentarily. At the beginning of your presentation, the timer will be set for 5 minutes. When 4 minutes have passed, I will advise you that you have 1 minute remaining to bring your presentation to a close. Following your presentation, trustees will have an opportunity to ask only questions of clarification relating to your remarks. They are not permitted to discuss or debate the issue at the time. The item that you are addressing is not otherwise listed on the agenda. And that means that trustees may opt to refer to staff for follow-up, request that it be included on a future meeting agenda, or add the item to this meeting agenda, which requires a 2/3 vote of trustees present at the committee meeting. At the discretion of the chair, the director may request an opportunity for staff to provide clarity to a delegation in order to assist trustees in understanding the matter. You are a virtual delegation, and you've already been informed that you will be removed after the completion of your presentation. This is a meeting that is being recorded and rebroadcast on YouTube. So you will be able to view the rest of the meeting starting tomorrow when it is posted. Do you have any questions before you begin?
Nope.
Okay. I can hear you, so please start your presentation now.
Okay, thank you for having me. I'll just jump right into my script. So families living near Clyde are technically eligible for transportation to Galt Collegiate Institute. That's according to the Student Transportation website. The designated French Immersion Secondary School is within our boundary. However, the transportation being offered is only a GRT transit pass, despite there being no accessible GRT bus service through Clyde. The nearest available bus stop is approximately 6 kilometers away on Franklin Road, making transportation option impractical and inaccessible for students in Clyde. As a result, some families are being forced to withdraw from their preferred French immersion pathway because parents cannot reliably drive their students to school every day due to work obligations. So students are being effectively unable to access the French immersion program despite being officially eligible. The current transportation solution does not reflect the rural realities of Clyde area. Families with limited schedule flexibility are disproportionately impacted. Students may be forced to abandon their French language education opportunities because of transportation barriers rather than educational choice. This situation undermines the continuity of French immersion education from elementary to secondary school. Currently, there are 4 families and 6 students that will be directly affected in September. French is one of Canada's official languages, and access to French education should be equitable for all students, regardless of where they live. The Waterloo Region District School Board and French program states all students can access French language programs through core French and French immersion. And it also states students who complete elementary French immersion can continue their studies in extended French or French immersion at the secondary level. On the Ontario Ministry of Education site, French as a second language program highlights the importance of French education and increasing student participation in FSL programs. The province's goals include increasing student confidence, proficiency, and achievement in FSL, increasing the percentage of students studying FSL until graduation, improving parent and community engagement in French second language. But without accessible transportation, students in rural areas do not have the same opportunity to participate in French immersion programs as students in the urban areas. This creates an inequitable barrier to accessing publicly offered education pathways. The families are not requesting a large yellow school bus. Instead, we're just asking the board to consider a more practical and cost-effective transportation solution for rural students near Clyde, such as a small shared vehicle or van service or a transportation arrangement that reflects the absence of public transit access in the area. The goal is really to ensure students can reasonably access the French immersion secondary program that they're entitled to attend and continue their French language education through to graduation of grade 12.
1 minute. You were finished when I said that. Remarkable timing. Thank you very much for your presentation. Trustees, do you have any questions for the delegate? Trustee Radler.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Thank you very much for your delegation, Mrs. Michelle. I appreciate your concerns and, the fact that you are placed in a situation that does not give you access to a program that you would like to have. I guess my question is, in terms of the elementary school that offered French immersion, were you out of boundary for elementary as well, or were you able to access busing when your child was doing the elementary French immersion program?
Yes, we are currently being bused to Moffat Creek, which is within our boundary. It is the French immersion school, but it's also the closest elementary school for us. So it would have been our school regardless if they went to French immersion. And we were bused there today.
Okay, so this then is a new problem in that you have not had any problems of access before.
I only know of one other family in the region, or in Clyde, that's had this problem, but it was only one family that was affected. It's becoming more of a problem.
Thank you.
If no one else has a question, I have one. Forgive me for not knowing this, but what would the home high school be for students in Clyde if they were not in French immersion?
Glenview for WRDSB.
And follow up, are students in Clyde bused from there to Glenview?
Yeah, so there's buses to every other school, so for Catholic and for public. So we have four, so we have elementary, public, elementary, separate, and we have Glenview and I forget the name, Doyle, I guess, is the Catholic school board. So we have 4 buses coming through here, but none of them going to GCI.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Trustee Weston?
Thank you. Through you, I would like to refer this delegation to staff
For follow-up?
for follow-up.
Okay, seconder for that motion? Trustee Radlin? Trustee Cody also his hand up. There's no discussion on a motion to refer, so all those in favor of referring this to staff for follow-up? And that is unanimous. So there will be follow-up at a future meeting, Michelle, and because we're very close to the end of the school year and our agendas are already set for June, I can't say when it will be coming back to trustees, but staff may follow up with you directly outside of the meeting process. And then report later to trustees if that is possible. So thank you for attending virtually tonight and for your presentation and for raising these issues with trustees.
Thank you for your time.
All right, moving on with the agenda. We have an item for staff follow-up, and that is Associate Director Lem is responding to a question that was previously raised by Trustee Watson, I believe, about the controls placed on Chromebooks when they are outside of schools. So please go ahead. Do you want to project towards the microphone, or do you want to come to the podium?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will project and use my best
Okay.
through that voice. Yes, the question was raised about the filters that are placed on board devices when on home networks, and the access to social media while devices are on home networks. Upon further investigation, I was able to confirm that unfortunately our filtering capabilities do not exist on external networks. They are only in place when devices are on our internal networks.
Thank you. Trustees, the person who raised the question is not here, but do any of you have any questions for Associate Director Lemon on this matter? Trustee Ramsey?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To
Associate Director Lemon. So, I guess my question would be then, and forgive me, I'm not that savvy with the computer, but is it possible for someone to take the device home and then download something and then bring it back to the school?
Through the chair to respond to the trustee question. Board devices are administered centrally, so they have certain security precautions and protections put on them. When you log in to the device, your ability to download any kind of application is quite limited. There would be applications that are registered applications with the district that students would be able to access, but no unapproved apps would be accessible on the device or be able to be downloaded.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything further?
No.
Yes, Trustee Radlin.
So for clarification, when computers go home, the responsibility for monitoring rests with parents and caregivers.
Through the chair to respond to the trustee question, that's correct. The external controls or the controls that we have while a device is within our network that's when we have the most control, and then when we go to external networks there are fewer controls.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, trustees. Thank you, Associate Director Lemon. We will move on to reports. There are 4 of them on the agenda for tonight, and the first 3 are the responsibility of Superintendent Sunger with some support. So if you wanted to speak to the energy and greenhouse gas emissions update, which in your package is on folio 1. Welcome.
Good evening, and for the Chair of Trustees, it is my pleasure to introduce our Supervisor of Energy Conservation, Caleb Gingrich-Regehr. This evening, Supervisor Gingrich-Regehr will present the Energy and Greenhouse Gas Emissions Update Report, providing an overview of the Board's energy performance, conservation initiatives, and progress toward reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Supervisor Gingrich-Regehr will also highlight key projects and investments that are improving our energy efficiency across our facilities while supporting our environmental sustainability goals. In addition, Supervisor Gingrich-Regehr will provide an update on the energy budget and utility expenditures, offering insight into how these investments are helping to manage costs, improve building performance, and support responsible stewardship of board resources. Before I turn it over, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge and congratulate Supervisor Gingrich-Regehr on recently obtaining his professional engineering license in Ontario. This is a significant professional achievement that reflects his dedication, technical expertise, and commitment to excellence. Congratulations, Supervisor Gingrich-Regehr, on this well-deserved accomplishment.
Welcome to the podium, and congratulations from trustees as well.
Thank you very much. That's appreciated. Through the chair, good evening. I'm pleased to be able to bring the energy and greenhouse gas emissions update to you this evening. So as always, Facility Services tracks WRDSB energy consumption closely. I use energy use intensity, or total electricity and natural gas consumption per square meter of building area, to assess our progress and the success of our ongoing investments. The 2024-25 energy use intensity was 11% lower than the previous year. This is the lowest energy use intensity the WRDSB has ever recorded, and a large decrease over the previous year. It is the result of various building automation system optimizations, improved monthly bill monitoring with advanced weather normalization, accelerating whole school LED lighting upgrades, a memo to administrators on energy conservation measures, they can take and accelerated capital upgrades. Overall, energy conservation efforts have reduced energy intensity by 28% since 2008. And cumulatively, this has offset utility costs by $35 million over the last 17 years. Next slide. In parallel with these reductions in energy use intensity, WRDSP has seen a 6% decrease in our greenhouse gas emissions per square meter from the previous year. This reduction is a result of the same measures that reduce our energy use, as well as the continuing rollout of cold climate air source heat pumps and other capital upgrades. In total, our greenhouse gas emissions intensity has decreased by 41% since 2008. These reductions in energy consumption have a significant impact on the budget. Since 2008, the WRDSP has experienced many changes that increase our energy consumption. These include adding 1.2 million square feet of building area, significantly expanding the number of air-conditioned classrooms, increasing the amount of fresh air provided to our classrooms, and increasing the number of hours the schools are occupied through community use and before and after school programs. We've also experienced a 35% increase in overall energy prices. The energy budget's growth rate does not reflect the rate of these changes, and this is only possible through the success of the significant investments that have been made in energy conservation over the last 17 years. You will note, however, that actual expenditures continue to increase despite the decreasing energy intensity, and this is because energy prices continue to increase more rapidly than consumption decreases. This year I want to highlight the LED lighting upgrade project. As with the work that we've completed this year, almost all lighting at the WRDSP has been upgraded to LED. There are 22 remaining schools with some non-upgraded lighting will be upgraded in the coming years as other planned capital work is completed in the school. We upgraded 30 schools last year and another 24 schools this year. This project started in 2020-21, and since then we've upgraded over 95,000 fluorescent light bulbs across 95 schools. This reduced our electricity consumption by at least 4 million kilowatt hours, which is equivalent to the annual consumption of 15 elementary schools. This reduces our electricity costs by $700,000 per year and reduces maintenance and custodial costs. Facility Services published a 5-year energy conservation demand management plan in 2024 that details our plans out to 2027-28. Capital investments that improve school condition and learning environments while also decreasing energy consumption are key to that plan. While primarily funded from our capital budget, utility incentives also play a role, and since 2009, we have received over $800,000 in incentive funding, which has been reinvested in our schools. So in addition to the LED lighting, we've replaced pneumatic controls with modern digital controls at 8 schools this year. So as you can see in the pictures on the top right of the slide, this is a significant change in technology that greatly increases the sophistication of the control algorithms, which allows for much tighter control of energy consumption. We're also replacing the single pane windows at 2 schools this summer. The photo in the bottom left contrasts the old and new windows at Portland Public School. The new windows, which are at the top right of that picture, aren't as cold to sit beside in the winter, and you can see maintaining the aesthetics of this historic building. We're also accelerating the replacement of old boiler plants. The final pictures on the slide on the bottom right show the old and new boilers at Cameron Heights Collegiate Institute. These replacement projects are complex and require months, if not years, of planning to avoid disrupting the operation of the school, while also improving reliability and efficiency of the heating plant. Slide. And finally, in terms of capital upgrades in this plan, we're upgrading inefficient air handling equipment. An example before and after picture is at the top left of this slide. While improving energy efficiency, these upgrades include air conditioning and improved indoor air quality monitoring. Over the last few years, we've also been able to integrate cold funnel air source heat pumps into the design of several projects, which are pictured on the bottom of the slide. This technology has demonstrated its ability to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and energy consumption, and I'm looking forward to seeing continued success with newer installations at North Lake Woods Public School, Park Manor Public School, and Waterloo Collegiate Institute. We've also been using real-time energy monitoring to identify opportunities for low-cost upgrades that have a high impact. I found failed controls for the exhaust fans at Wellesley Public School, which are pictured top right. So implementing these repairs reduced overnight and weekend natural gas consumption by 50% without changing the learning environment for students in any way. Next slide. So as you can see, the facility services team has been busy with many projects that reduce energy consumption, and this will continue into the coming years. I'd like to highlight the plans to replace the steam boilers with hot water boilers at Galt Collegiate Institute and Preston High School. The old plans are pictured on the left side of the slide. These are the last steam boilers the WRDSB operates, and this equipment is quite antiquated. The new boiler plants will be cheaper to maintain and operate, in addition to delivering energy savings. So by making these major investments now, we are managing the risk of boiler plant failures in the future. So future capital plans include all the project categories I just discussed. So there's lots more work to do, which means these investments will continue to deliver large energy savings. So I'm hopeful we can continue to report declining energy use intensity in the coming years. And then finally, in addition to the capital work, the conservation plan also relies on real-time energy monitoring, as I've discussed in past years. So this is now installed and operational at 6 to 8 schools, and we're installing about 10 additional schools each year. So this past year, my focus has shifted from installation to utilizing the data. So I'm finalizing automatic alerts and other tools that allow me to focus on identifying and resolving issues. Next year, the WRDSB will be participating in the K4 Performance Incentive Program provided by Enbridge, which provides free access to a consultant with expertise and capacity to mine this large data set for actionable insights. I've been working on making this data accessible to custodial and teaching staff as well as students through a dashboard pictured on the screen. This allows them to see their school's utility consumption, something that's normally invisible. Custodial and maintenance staff can use this data to quickly assess if energy is being used at inappropriate times, while teaching staff can use this data for educational purposes, connecting math and science concepts with a student's learning environment, while also reminding staff and students to conserve energy. They can then see the impact their actions have on consumption and discuss how this connects to climate change. So thank you for your attention tonight. I'm happy to address any questions.
Trustee Weston, followed by Trustee Rodlin. Go ahead.
Thank you, through you. Congratulations on this, well, on your getting certification, and also on all of this energy what's the word I'm looking, utilization, like, well done. All of these decreases are great: greenhouse gas emissions, energy use intensity, everything. I appreciate the you speaking about how we've increased fresh air through our schools and continue to monitor indoor air. And of course, at this time of year, the air conditioning improvement. So all of that is really good news. So thank you. I think our energy bills would be much higher without this work. So this is great. My question is around incentive funding that you mentioned. One of them that towards the end, you mentioned Enbridge to help with, I believe, dashboards and things like that. Is there any other incentive funding from federal governments, from governments that may be coming down the line that we can use to help offset some of these costs to upgrade?
Go ahead. Through the chair to answer the question, A part of my role is to continually monitor incentive programs that are available. The largest programs are through Enbridge on the natural gas side, and the IESO that operates the Save on Energy program on the electricity side. Incentive programs through the federal government tend to focus more on industrial and commercial consumers rather than the broader public sector, and the province focuses their funding through their capital funding streams. But we continue to take advantage of programs as they are available and fit with our ongoing operations.
Any follow-up?
No, thank you.
Trustee Radlin?
Thank you, through your chair. Again, thank you very much for your work in this area. A 41% reduction is pretty impressive. So I have a couple of questions of clarification, and then I have real questions. So my first question is, in the background, then where you talk about the budget expenditures and forecast, you say the natural gas and electricity budget was 11.9 million and expenditures were 11.9. Then you say budget and expenditures cannot be compared, but isn't that a comparison? I don't understand what that is saying. If you say one, yes, because the first sentence says expenditures match budget, and then the second sentence says you can't compare them. What can't you compare?
Go ahead.
That was compared.
Through the chair, to answer the trustee's question, the first sentence is simply intended to report the two numbers. The second sentence was to discourage a desire to evaluate success of our budgeting process based on how the two numbers compare, because of the complexity of projecting things like weather over a year out.
Thank you. And in layman's language, can you tell me what energy use intensity is?
Yes, through the chair. It's a combined energy metric. So we take all of the electricity that we consume. The electricity is metered in kilowatt hours, so 1 unit. Natural gas is generally consumed and metered in a different unit. So energy use intensity converts the natural gas consumption into the electricity unit, and then so that we can add it together and present it as one number. There's also a weather normalization process that I apply. Weather drives our consumption to a significant extent. So without that normalization, the curve would look a lot more noisy, would go up and down a lot. That would be because 1 year, the winter 2 years ago was significantly warmer overall than the winter we just experienced. And so that's not the reduction of energy consumption that would have occurred 2 years ago isn't an accurate reflection of the success that the program has had. That's just the variability of weather. So the energy use intensity is an attempt to take into account all of those different drivers to be able to report the impacts of our capital investments and other conservation programs specifically.
So it's a follow-up to the chair.
I'll allow.
So it's how you combine the various forms of energy we use to get a real number in terms of measuring whether we are getting better or worse.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you.
I have a couple of site-specific questions since there's no other hands. So I, of course, expected Elizabeth Ziegler's number to decline because it was closed from March to the end of the school year. This is 24-25. So and it did go down, but not quite as much as I would have expected. Of course, we had to still keep the heat on. But are we expecting that the consumption for Elizabeth Ziegler to continue, because it's not an abandoned building, yet we still have to keep pipes from freezing and so on. So I just wondered if you could reflect on our use at that facility.
Through the chair, the one component of that is that at the end of 24-25, we also added a significant number of portables to site. The portables are powered through the meter, the same electricity meter, so that increased the total square footage that's behind that number. So that's one part of the story. We've also, yes, we do have to maintain conditions in the building, not to an occupied level, but our ability to control that site is also more challenging, given that staff, our normal trade staff, are not able to be on site for safety concerns on an ongoing basis. So we've been doing our best remotely with the tools that are available to us at that site, but we don't expect to see significant changes from that number until the restoration project is complete. The restoration project does include several energy conservation measures, however, so once that's done, we hope to see good news for that site specifically.
Okay. Yes, I guess that was an obvious thing that I forgot to factor in. So thank you for humoring me and reminding me about the portables. Second question was about WCI. I think you mentioned heat pumps being installed, and I've had the pleasure of visiting WCI on a day when it was 32 degrees outside, and it was much hotter than 32 degrees inside. Will that change deal with some of the extreme heat issues that school faces?
Yes, we added the air source heat pumps as the air conditioning component to one, if not two, fan rooms in a part of the school. So it provides air conditioning to a portion of the school that has, it's a old and complex building. Air conditioning the entire site is a process that will occur over several years as funding is available to bring air conditioning. So we are making progress on reducing the impact of that extreme heat for that site specifically as quickly as possible.
See, if I include that in my commencement speech that I'm giving to WCI grads on the 19th, I think I'll get more applause than I normally would. Although those are graduating students, so they may be regretting that it didn't happen sooner. Trustee Radlin, you have another question.
I do, through you, Chair. I was looking at the different schools. I was going to ask about Galton, Preston, but I did hear you say that the boilers would be replaced. So that addresses my first question. And my other question was, which is the largest secondary school in terms of square feet?
Go ahead. Through the chair, I don't have that information off the top of my head. I can get back to you on that, or you wish to look it up in a minute, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Well, I'm assuming that you don't know it, and it's not important. The square footage doesn't contribute to the excessive energy use or more energy use than it's.
Through the chair, part of the goal of the energy use intensity metric is it normalizes, or it allows us to compare schools of different size to each other. So just because a school is small doesn't mean a low energy consumption, like low total energy consumption means it's performing well. If an elementary school consumed as much energy as a high school, one of those isn't working properly. Maybe the high school isn't consuming enough, but the energy use intensity is the total energy consumption divided by the square footage. So I tend to focus on the energy use intensity rather than the total consumption, because the high energy intensity means it's more likely there's something that can be addressed on site and to reduce the consumption.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Since there's no other hands, I will let you ask one more question.
So, looking at the figures, natural gas, everything these days in terms of energy is suggesting that we move to electricity, it's cleaner, etc. But electricity is a lot more expensive than natural gas. So, I guess, do you see the percent of natural gas being used by the board as decreasing over time?
Go ahead.
Through the chair, that's a large policy question that is beyond my responsibilities on my own. But the deployment of the air source heat pumps allows us to switch some of our heating from natural gas to electricity without significantly increasing the costs, because the air source heat pump operates at a much higher efficiency. So the air source heat pump can move 2 or 3 times as many or as much heat into the building as it consumes, where a boiler delivers less heat than it's actually consuming. So now we're, by reducing the total amount of energy we're consuming, but using a more expensive source, we can keep the cost level. That kind of transition over 8.5 million square feet would be a multi-decades project that would require significant funding. So we do what we can when we're also adding air conditioning or similar capital upgrades, but without significant policy direction on where we want to go as a board. I don't see the electricity and natural gas split shifting significantly in the short term.
Thank you. Okay, I put you on the spot.
All right, thank you for that report, and thank you, trustees, for your questions. We will move on to the major capital projects quarterly update, and again, Superintendent Segar.
Through the Chair of Trustees, I will be presenting the major capital projects quarterly update report found on folio 19. This report is being presented to the board for information. I'll begin with an update on Willow River Public School. For your information, and as a reminder, the school is located at 670 Thomas Lee Drive. This project created 591 student spaces and 49 licensed childcare spaces. Since our last update, the remaining work, including paving and the main stairwell, has been completed. I'm happy to share. Grand opening will be later this week on June 11th. Better late than never. We're looking forward to celebrating this milestone with the school community. Moving on to our next project, the Unwind Public School, which is our joint use Cambridge campus school with the Waterloo Catholic District School Board, is located at 655 Westview Boulevard. This project will create 519 student spaces and 88 licensed childcare spaces for our board, along with 354 student spaces for our co-terminus board. Work on the project continues to progress well. Interior finishes, including flooring and painting, are ongoing. Topsoil is currently being installed on the fields, with sod expected to be laid next week and asphalt paving anticipated by the end of the month. We remain well positioned to have the school open this September, and we're excited that this is our first joint use for the school board. We're looking forward to this to opening the school. Turning now to Breslau Hopewell Crossing New School, located at 95 Loxley Lane, Breslau. This project will create 611 student spaces and 72 licensed childcare spaces. The contractor has mobilized on site and completed rough grading along while footing and foundation work is now underway. The project remains on schedule. There's going to be number of work that needs to be completed before frost sets in. So the contractor is working hard to get this ready for the winter. And finally, I'll provide an update on Elizabeth Ziegler Public School. You may have seen as you drive by the site that the scaffolding has been erected on site. The interior demolition is currently underway, and brick removal has begun on the outside, including repointing of some of the bricks that are to remain, that is in progress. And this project is also on schedule, and we're really excited that this project is moving ahead, considering where we were last year with this project, and the school. So kudos to the facility staff for all the work on this. Appendix A provides a summary of all major capital projects along with additional project details, and that can be found on folio 21. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Trustees, are there any questions? Trustee Radlin.
To you, Chair. And thank you for what is mainly good news. Just a question about the Breslau Hopewell Crossing School. Is the increase, it's more expensive than, like, say, Gina 1? So is that cost of living, or cost increases, should I say, for the most part?
Yeah, so through the chair to respond to Trustee's question. So a lot of the features that are included in the design of Breslau has to do with energy efficiency. So there's a larger upfront cost when you're adding triple pane windows, when you're going to add higher insulation for roofing and wall insulation. So those are a bit higher costs, but there will be payoff over a number of years when we see reductions in our utility bill.
Thank you.
Well, Trustee Weston.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Looking forward to attending the Willow River grand opening later this week. Gina, when do we have a grand opening date for that? Will it be early fall?
Through the chair, to respond to Trustee's question. So we haven't coordinated this ceremony with the Catholic Board. So we haven't had those conversations just yet, and we have to let the ministry know there's a certain protocol we have to follow. So our comms team does a great job coordinating that event. So I'm sure they'll find a time that works for everybody. So as of right now, I don't believe there's been a date set for the grand opening.
Thank you.
Any further questions? This report was presented for information, as was the previous one. I should have noted that. So there's no motion required. You can stay at the podium and present the 25-26 school renewal and school condition improvement allocation report, also provided for information.
Through the chair of Trustees, I will be presenting the 2025-2026 school renewal allocation and school condition improvement report found on folio 22. As mentioned, this report is being presented to the board for information purposes. I'll provide a brief overview of the significant investments we're making in our schools this summer and throughout the 2025-2026 school year. Once again, we are prioritizing improvements across all areas of our school's physical environments, focusing not only on infrastructure and safety, but also on accessibility, sustainability, and the long-term condition of our facilities. This summer, we're completing several key accessibility projects, including a new elevator at Glenview Park Secondary School and an accessibility ramp at Galt Collegiate Institute. We're also adding new barrier-free and universal washrooms at several schools, including Avenue Road and ECI. In addition, we're completing several key renewal projects, including window replacements, which will also be thermally efficient, HVAC upgrades, building automation, system upgrades, and other critical infrastructure investments across the board. On the exterior and interior side, we're investing in paving and parking lot expansions, including at Cortland Ave and Smithson Public School. We're also completing locker replacement projects and continuing to work on several accommodation committee initiatives in both elementary and secondary schools. For your reference, the committee members are identified in Appendix A and be found on folio 25. Many of these projects also support our goal of reducing energy consumption and greenhouse gas emissions. As highlighted earlier by Supervisor Gingrich-Rogere, projects such as the steam to hot water boiler conversion at Galt Collegiate Institute improve reliability, reduce operating costs, and support the board's sustainability objectives. Funding for these projects come from the Ministry of Education through two key funding streams. The School Condition Improvement Grant supports major building systems and infrastructure, with the ministry requiring that at least 70% of this funding be directed toward critical building components, such as roofing and HVAC systems. The School Renewal Allocation Grant complements this funding by supporting broader renewal priorities, including accessibility upgrades, ventilation improvements, and modernization projects. Together, these funding streams help us maintain safe, accessible, and well-functioning learning environments while addressing the long-term needs of our facilities. To support long-term capital planning, the ministry has also relaunched the School Condition Assessment Program, commonly known as SCAP. Through this program, approximately 900 facilities across Ontario will be assessed annually over a 5-year period. These assessments are conducted by VFA Canada and will help inform future funding priorities through the VFA facility database. The Digby RDSB entered its assessment cycle last year, with approximately 20 to 30 schools being assessed annually. For reference, Appendix B, located on Folio 26, provides a high-level summary of our 2025-2026 expenditures and planned investments. I'd also like to quickly respond to Chair Rowland's question about our biggest school. It happens to be Cameron Heights, the biggest secondary school. And as you could refer back to the report, it has one of the highest energy intensities, and that's a large part due to the pool. That does consume a lot of energy. But I just wanted to clarify that for you.
Thank you.
And with that, I'm pleased to answer any questions that you have.
Student Trustee Trivedi.
Thank you through the chair. So thank you for the report. Just a quick question about Cameron Heights. There are solar panels on the roof. I believe at Cameron Heights, I go there. So I've seen solar panels. Do they help contribute towards reducing any electric and any intensity of power, or are they inactive?
Through the chair to respond student trustee question, that's a good question. I didn't know that we had solar panels at that site. I'd have to get back to you on that one because we don't have many schools with solar panels, and you would need a certain amount to actually generate enough electricity. So I don't know if it's contributing much to our utilities. So I can look into that and find out. Unless Supervisor Gingrich, do you have? Okay, I'll defer to Supervisor Gingrich.
Through the chair to answer the question, the solar panels at Cameron Heights are solar thermal panels. And they're used to heat the pool in part. So the pool water is circulated through the panels and collects the heat from the sun and returns to the pool. So there's no electricity generated by those panels.
Thank you. Now we know. Yeah. Trustee Redland.
Thank you through your chair. Superintendent Segar, I just loved reading this school renewal, school improvement report because many of the things I see that are being addressed here I know to have been issues for a while. But just one, I have a couple of questions, but I noticed that on the building code Z16, it talks about playground equipment repairs, and I thought the board did not do playground equipment repairs.
Through the chair to respond to Trust's question, we actually hire a company that goes out and does equipment maintenance and inspections. So if they go out and they see some infractions, they'll go and address certain issues. But we don't have facility staff that will actually go out and make repairs to playgrounds.
Follow up.
Go ahead.
So is this an ongoing process where this company, does regular inspections and fixes what needs to be fixed, or is this kind of on request if the school identifies a problem?
Through the chair, just want to address this question. So actually, we do have a program in place where we just recently went through a procurement process where we do have a vendor that is responsible for going out and assessing, inspecting playgrounds, and depending on what needs to be done, they can repair or replace certain items up to a certain value. If they're larger items or they identify that the playground is beyond repairable, then the playground will be cordoned off and students, kids will not be able to use it unless it can be a major repair or we have funding in the future to replace it altogether. So there is a program in place to do annual playground inspections.
Any further questions? Let me see if anybody besides Trustee Rutland. You may go again.
Thank you, through you, Chair, and this is on the accessibility. So again, I'm really pleased to see that things like access to playgrounds and Portland and other schools are being addressed. And I see that GPSS is getting an elevator. Is this are there other secondary schools that don't yet have elevators? Or is this the last one?
We still have, there's some schools that still are identified that will be getting elevators through, we have a multi-year plan that, depending on funding, we're able to start those projects. We actually did a number of elevator replacement projects last summer. King Edward, Sudbury, for example, they received a new elevator. So it all depends on the funding that we receive and what we can prioritize. Elizabeth Ziegler is also going to be getting a new elevator and will become fully accessible. So we are putting money toward funding towards elevator projects. There are very limited ones that are left that need to actually have a replacement or have elevators installed.
Thank you. I follow up. I was thinking specifically of secondary school.
Well,
so isn't it Glenview Park that it?
Yes.
So is that the last secondary school? Because I guess my question is, do all the other ones already have elevators?
Through the chair to respond to trustee's question, I believe so, but I would have to take that back to look at our multi-year plan. I don't have all that information.
Thank you.
Available right now, but I will look into that.
WCI does not have an elevator, and I think because of the way that it's built as a split level, it would be difficult to make it fully accessible.
WCI would need about 3 or 4 elevators, so because of the split levels, so it is a very challenging site, and that requires a lot more design work and consideration of putting elevators in. So there's a lot more to that school that we need to consider.
Thank you. Any further questions before we let Superintendent, Trustee Weston?
Just more of a comment. So I just appreciate the focus on accessibility and the environmental projects on here. That's all I want to say. This looks like a great report and lots of important upgrades coming. Thank you.
Thank you. So this report was in your package for information, and you may take your seat. And we'll invite Superintendent Landry to the podium to give us the interim financial report and forecast for the current fiscal year. And it looks like he's sending Controller M. Armelini to the podium. Your name is right here on the agenda. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Delegation is an important job.
Great.
That's why we have an adjustable podium.
Great. Good evening. Okay, tonight I'm presenting the third quarter interim financial report for the 25-26 school year with financial results that are tracking up to May 31st, 2026. As a reminder, the board approved a balanced operating budget last June. However, in November of 2025, the board supported a $6.4 million short-term strategic investment. I am pleased to report that our projected in-year operating deficit has improved and it is now expected to be $5.6 million down from the $6.2 million deficit projected on our Q1 report. This improvement is driven by some staff vacancies, short-term unpaid leaves, and savings in student transportation. Total revenues are $966 million. While core funding dropped due to lower than projected enrollment, it was offset by a few positive variances. We received $327,000 across 3 targeted grants, so 3 REPs since Q2. The Cyber Safety Learning Resources, the DECE Professional Development, and the Early Development Instrument, EDI. Total operating expenses are $961 million. While overall spending is on track, we do have some savings in 2 specific areas. We have savings in student transportation. While service levels remain consistent from last year, additional ministry revenues created a temporary surplus in that area. We are using these savings to cover immediate pressures like supply staff and special education expenses. However, because of new contracts that will start in 27-28, this is treated as strictly non-recurring and will not be built into permanent base budgets. School operations has also savings of $1.4 million. This is due to some vacant positions and unpaid leaves, which managed to completely offset our higher than expected contractual services, especially their snow removal costs. 2 areas that did increase were we did increase educational assistance in the strategic investment by hiring 10 additional EAs. Also, there was an increase of $3.6 million for professional paraprofessional line, which was driven by the $3.9 million strategic investment in IT infrastructure. Staff will continue to monitor every line item throughout the summer, and we will return to the board in November 2026 with our final audited year-end financial statements. Are there any questions?
Steve West.
Thank you, through you. Thank you for this update. I have 2 questions, so we'll go back on the list. But my first question is the some of the savings was staffing vacancies. You know, good news that we're saving money, but you know, there's always a concern with vacancies and where they are and how that impacts other staffing. So my question is it gets mentioned again under school operations, but I'm not sure if it's like a one-to-one. The staffing vacancies, is there a concern about too many vacancies at close to the student desk, I guess, that is causing these, like I said, it's good that we're having savings, but also we need staff to do the job. So I'm just wondering where those vacancies are happening.
Through the chair, they are in the they are mostly in the school operations area, and they are short-term leaves that are causing these vacancies, and some are maternity leaves and some sick leaves that are also long-term that have not been replaced.
Okay, any follow-up?
Just quick follow-up, and so mostly operations, so that would include what kind of positions?
Through the chair, I would have to get back to you on that, but I will confirm there are some maintenance positions that are for sure in that situation.
Okay, I'm noting that you want to be on the list again, but trustee
Sorry, I
Redmond.
just wondered if other staff would know. So she didn't get back to me.
Does anybody have the answer to that question?
No. Okay, you can get back to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not tonight.
Okay.
Trustee Rodland.
Thank you for this report that I always appreciate the plain language. Under operations, it talks about savings because of a higher than anticipated volume of unpaid sick leaves. Why would sick leaves be unpaid?
Through the chair. If they are long-term and they're on LTD, then they are not unpaid, or requesting unpaid leaves, like a short-term unpaid leave. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but for example, family, and the word like family illness, like extended family illness that is not covered.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask a question myself, and then I'll go to Trustee Weston if nobody else puts up their hand. Under background on folio 30, it says it is the sole responsibility of the board to approve the annual operating budget, and it is the responsibility of staff to oversee and monitor day-to-day spending within the budget framework. Given the passage of Bill 101, for future reports of this nature, am I correct in thinking that that sentence will have to be changed to reflect the new budget process?
I'm going to defer that to Superintendent Landry because we were just talking about that.
Through the chair. It's our understanding that trustees under the new legislation continue to approve the budget. If there is an issue with that approval, then there are alternatives to escalate it to the minister, but we will, when we table the budget on Wednesday, we will still be asking for approval.
Okay, so it remains the responsibility of trustees to approve a balanced budget. If they fail to do so, then the minister can intervene. Thank you for clarifying that. Trustee Weston, seeing no other hands.
Thank you, through you to staff. So the custodial maintenance helpers, is this a new position in our board? I'm curious whether this is meant to assist custodians in the school or would replace them. What is their role?
Looks like CEO Miller. Oh no, Superintendent Sager has the answer to that question.
Through the chair to respond to the trustee's question. So CMH is actually they are a part-time position and they are used to support the staff. So any custodial duties is part of their responsibility. So it's not a full-time job, it is a part-time job. It could lead to a more full-time position, depending if there are future openings for more permanent positions.
So in a school, would there be a custodian on duty and then perhaps a custodian maintenance helper assisting them? Or is it if a custodian is absent, this custodian maintenance helper could come and do that same job?
Through the chair to respond to the trustee's question. So if there's an absence, custodian maintenance helper can be assigned to help with coverage. If there are some absences at the school. So it really depends on the need for that individual.
Okay, any further questions on the interim financial forecast? Trustee Radlin?
Thank you, through you, Chair. And thank you, Controller Ameline, again for your explanation. So looking at the first folio 32 Appendix A on the expenses, there's an increase in your change, there's an increase in instruction and administration costs. What would that be?
Take a minute if you need it.
Through the chair. So the increase of that is there was a reclassification of 5 IT staff. They were allocated in a different area of the budget. So that is increased to 5 FT for IT. And as well, we did have some receivables that have been in our books for couple, like I would say 3 to 4 years, and we did write those off, knowing that they were uncollectible, that we were not able to collect.
Thank you.
And I think that Superintendent Lander has something to add.
Just to add, the increase on the instruction, would it reflect our in-year strategic spending? That would be.
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you, yeah.
If there are no further questions, we can receive this report for information and move on. Thank you very much. Scrolling back up to the agenda, I think that all that is left. If there are no other board reports, question period, we have 5 minutes. Trustee Ramsey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Associate Director Lemon. Question came to mind with regard to the issue of the Chromebooks is whether or not students are able to download a new VPN and get on a different network altogether. Apparently students are doing this, and that would be.
Through the chair to respond to the trustee question, I'll need to dig into that a little bit more. I sent a message to CIO Matt Mohammed just to confirm, but I will note that if students are doing that, that is a violation of our responsible use procedure, and they would be jeopardizing their use of board devices and also their access to board members.
Any follow-up? Further questions from trustees? Seeing none, there's being no other business, can I have a motion to adjourn the committee meeting? Trustee Weston, seconded by Trustee Cody. All those in favor of adjourning? The meeting is adjourned.